The response was maybe at a higher level. Why the difference tonight?
It might have been the Red Wings. Might have been some different things. Things that we talked about prior to the game. But when they scored the goal, I really felt that the bench was different. Our focus was better. And again, Steve was good. Detroit really made a push in the first period. They came hard. They were fast. Mace made some good saves. We had some breakdowns. But good teams do that. They force you into those situations. But I liked the way that we responded. Regrouped after the first, and for 40 minutes, I really liked our game.
For the first time this season, you led after the second period. What does that do for this team? And could you see the confidence kind of permeating in the locker room after that second period?
I don't know. There was probably a confidence. It was certainly controlled. It was calm. But again, I think our focus was there, and we needed everyone. We got everyone tonight. There were contributions all over the ice, from the net out.
You have an update on James Wisniewski?
Well, I just talked with him in the locker room. He doesn't. Everything's good as far as nothing serious. But it is I think a concussion. So I'm not sure exactly where that goes.
Was he transported to the hospital? Did he stay here?
No, I believe he stayed here. I mean, he was still in his T-shirt and shorts. And he was moving slow. So I think his back or his leg, got hurt in the collision with the boards. But I talked with him, and we talked about things over the last day or so. So
your impression is this wasn't like a career-threatening type of thing?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Good. You tweaked the power play a little bit, and the first goal, you get one off the power play with the mix out there. Were you happy to see maybe the first one come via power play?
Specialty teams are so big. They're so big in the game. And, we didn't give up one. We actually scored a shorthanded goal. And it ends up being the difference in the game. And we score one power play goal, one shorthanded goal, and we win the game by 2. But it's a momentum-creating device, the power play. And, scoring the goal obviously got the crowd, gave us some confidence, some life, back into it. Because again, the first period they were coming after us, and then once I think we got into our game and starting in the second period, again I liked it. I liked the way that we were going after them, and some of our poise with the puck, especially in the third period. And they force you to chip pucks and throw it out in the neutral zone just by the way they forecheck. But we're okay with that. And because eventually you can get some breakdowns, you can get some odd man opportunities. And we had a lot of those in the third. That's it? Oh.
Artem Anisimov, 2 goals tonight. Are we starting to see maybe things that you've seen throughout, since the start of training camp? I mean, he can be deadly with the puck in front of the net.
I'm still learning Artie in his game. He's a big, really responsible centerman. So from a coaching standpoint, I see a guy that's really reliable. And then he makes offensive plays, and you see another side of him. As coaches, we want guys that we can trust, and Artie is a guy that I trust tremendously by his responsibility defensively. And then he contributes offensively, and again, you see this other side of him. His goal he scored in Nashville, his backhand, and his 2 goals tonight were beautiful goals. So you're seeing the offensive side where, maybe as he becomes more comfortable here and he starts to figure out his teammates and teammates start to figure out him, there may be a lot more there.
Coach, my question is also about Anisimov and his 2 goals tonight. He's never had a hat trick in the NHL. Was that part of your thinking at all on the bench on who to put out there on the ice, maybe more than other guys? Or was it more about just protecting the lead and playing smart?
You think about those things. I thought about it. And you know, again, you watch a play in the game where Artie passed it on the 2-on-1 to Umberger. It was a great play. I think it says a lot about the character of Anisimov, who has 2 goals at the time. You know, some guys might have come in and just said, you know, I'm going to try to get my 3rd here. And it was a really unselfish play on his part.
Steve obviously played really good when he came in for relief last game. How encouraging was it to see him to put a performance like this together tonight?
For me, it's encouraging because he got the win. His games really, all the games that he's played in, every single one, he's been very good. And I think he had, what, 3 losses coming into tonight? Was it 2 or 3? I don't know. I think it might have been 3. But he's played well in all those games. And, you know, whether we in front of him just didn't play well enough, or maybe it was a game where the other team just made one more play than us. But his game's been real solid. And I'm just more optimistic because he played well and he got the win.
Speaking of guys that have given you offense this year, in addition to Artem, Mark Letestu has 3 goals. Has he surprised you with his production?
I think it's surprising because he's primarily used in our energy line center position. But what he's done now is he's really, to me, he's increased his value to the team, where I use him as a penalty killer, and now I can use him on the power play. And he's a versatile player. You know, use him on the wing, use him in center. On the power play, we use him at the point. So I'll say yes to that question, but also no to that question. That it's not surprising because, and plus I have a past with Mark. You know, I coached him back in Wilkes-Barre. So I know Mark. I know some of the things that he can do and what he can bring to the team.
When your PK does such a good job of creating chances shorthanded, what does that do for you as a coach?
It doesn't do a lot for me at the time. I mean, it's one thing that we talk about, and Keith Acton talks about, and Danny Heino talk about wanting to get our guys up the ice and create pressure. And you know, I think we caught Detroit at a good time too, because they played last night. They had to travel, so I think as the game wore on, they became more fatigued. And you know, based on the score too, they had to take some chances, and we benefited from that. But our forwards have done a good job getting up the ice, trying to disrupt. And we created, actually, I'm not sure how many scoring chances we had. We had to have had 3 or 4 really good chances shorthanded. And we had a good one against St. Louis, too, when RJ walked in. So our penalty kill's done a good job keeping the puck out of our net, but we're also doing a good job attacking teams.
So that wasn't game-specific? That's something you've been looking for a while now?
Well, I don't think you set up your penalty kill to create offense. You know, it's always about defending what the other team's doing, but you look for opportunities to go. And that's really players' decisions. You know, we can talk about things, but, you know, good stick, create turnovers, and if a team makes an errant play or somebody falls down, you know, there's opportunities there.
Jack Johnson's logged a lot of minutes for this club already. With Wisniewski's injury tonight, who are you looking to step up and fill the holes?
Right now, I'm not sure. You know, Jack, we're unsure with Nikitin, his status. You know, he may be able to come back on Tuesday. You know, that's a possibility. But everyone's going to have to. You know, Wiz played, you know, 20 minutes, over 20 minutes a night. So, and you know, all different situations. So it's just like when you lose somebody in injury, there's ice time there that somebody needs to take. And I don't think we can give Jack anymore. So it's going to come down to the other guys.
You expect to recall somebody regardless?
I haven't had a discussion yet. So I'm not sure Nikitin's status. You know, the good thing is we're home here for the next, well, it's not quite 2 weeks anymore, but, you know, close to 10 days or so. But, you know, tomorrow's an off day for us. Everyone needs to just stay away from the rink and recharge their batteries. And, you know, when we come back on Monday, probably have a better idea of Nikitin and where he's at and what we need to do.
With Jack, I mean, he broke his own team record for ice time tonight. I mean, Was there ever a point where he, did one of these when
I don't send him out on the ice. That's Craig Hartsburg. And actually, I was sitting back in the coach's office. We were listening to NHL on the Fly was on, and they actually just interviewed Jack. And I think it's Catherine Tappan, is that her name? She had mentioned, well, Jack played over 35 minutes. And I turned right to Craig Hartsburg. He's like, got to send him out there. So it's not surprising. Jack really takes care of himself. He's in great shape. He plays a heavy game. He plays a powerful, heavy game, and it doesn't stop no matter how many minutes he gets. I mean, he probably, if a game goes to overtime, he probably would have played 3 minutes of overtime.
You talked about riding the hot goalie. Are you looking at possibly playing Steve Gill on Tuesday?
You know what? That's too far away right now to make that decision.
That's your WWE belt Steve has in his locker, right?
It's not my belt.
No?
No.
From your collection?
No, not from my collection. No.